Hey guys, it's Alicia and Jen with REbox here. Today we're going to be talking about TC resources and what you should be doing right now. So Jen, fill me in a short little brief here on what REbox offers TCs right now.
Oh, in a short.
So I say short because we're going to make this video about 30 minutes. So
Awesome.
we have a lot to cover in that 30 minutes.
So yeah, we're really excited. In 2020, we're offering some amazing services for both TCs and admin with REbox. We found in the last year with all the technology changes that a lot of things we were doing in our world, in the TC admin world, were actually taking more time. And what that was creating was an unnatural pressure on the smaller TC to try and keep up with all those changes. So we were really excited to be able to partner with a lot of TCs by offering a couple different products specifically geared towards the TC, which is our people. The first is our marketing program. It's our Powered by SHEP program, so it's incredible. So exactly. So we have had for a very long time an amazing marketing department run by Miss Alicia. And what we've done is essentially just kind of peel off our marketing department, make sure that it has a name that isn't going to come back to REbox, and put that behind your TC company. So we were hearing a lot, both you and I were always getting hit up with, how do I create a marketing department? How do I create a marketing department? And what people don't understand is that for the first 2 to 3 years of REbox's marketing, we didn't make any money. That was your and I, blood, sweat, and tears, and it was a passion project. We understand that most people don't have that kind of time. And so this is a way that they can, first of all, kind of beta test and see if marketing is even something that would benefit or work in their area. It's also something that they don't have to learn. So it's plug and play. You just sign up with us. We're going to come in. We're going to create all the marketing around it. We're going to make you look amazing. And that way it's not taking time away from the things that you do best. And then the final part about it is there's no risk associated with it. So in our world, in your and I world, you know, if we lose a client, we're still paying a salary or some sort of expense to that designer because we're still keeping them on. With this program, as a small TC business, if it doesn't work out or anything else, there's no risk associated with it. There's no cost to you, which means that you're not having to worry about that overhead piece that we worry about. So that's our first program, which we love.
Which is massive that there's no cost. I mean, that blows my mind when I'm having the conversations with a lot of our TC partners, especially this month, thinking about 2020, thinking about really gearing up to that selling season and how they can lead gen and get to the point that they're happy with the growth for Q1. You know, they're going no cost and a huge lead gen opportunity. And by lead gen, I mean, this is an amazing thing to bring to your current clients, to new clients, to the clients that shut you down last year, to say that, hey, I have an entire marketing department. That's graphic design, that's web design, that's social media, that's lead gen for the clients. Look at me now. You know, I mean, that's huge.
Well, and that's such an excellent point. And I should have brought that up is, what people don't understand is we get just as much business from marketing inquiries as we do from TC inquiries, because what it looks like is somebody sees something, they need a website, they need social media help, they need a new business card, and they'll see one of our ads on social media, which you all do amazing at and post for us. We have your social media package. So they'll see one of the ads and they'll come to us because they're looking for a social media package or a website build. But then when they get to our website, they go, oh my God, you guys do this and you do this and you do this. And now we're having a conversation not only about social media or their website, we're also having a conversation about listing support or transaction coordination support or any of these other things. And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand about REbox is that our marketing and our TC or operation side work really well together, because as we see more technology in the real estate marketplace, it's overwhelming. It's not only overwhelming to admin and TCs, it's overwhelming to agents. So we want someone to clarify that and to make it easy for them. So they are looking for a one-stop shop. That's just the way our market is going. So the Powered by SHEP program allows you to be that one-stop shop without the growing pains that you and I went through. And then if someone down the line says, you know what, I really want to do this, great. But most of our clients are like, this is incredible. This is leverage at the highest level. And there's no downside to it. So it's one of our favorite packages. We really love it. So
absolutely. And then tell us about the other side of what we're doing right now with compliance.
Yes.
Awesome.
So another thing that we saw with the technology is that in the last year, with additional lawsuits, with risk management, with this whole data technology craze, we're seeing things like compliance just have more steps, more work, more this. It's also different per brokerage. It's not only different per brokerage, but it can be different per brokerage within a national chain. So you could be working for brand X, right? But the brokerage in this town is doing compliance different than the brokerage in this town. What we found is that, again, the TC that has a small team or is by themselves, they can't keep up with it, because now all of a sudden your workload has doubled or tripled in some cases. And it's constantly changing. So I can't even, the head of my compliance department, I swear she spends 5 hours a week just watching webinars for the different brokerages to make sure that we're staying in line with their compliance schedules and the requirements. So what I was hearing time and time again in my coaching and in just being in the community was, I can't keep up. And I kept seeing on Facebook these women and men going, didn't get to have dinner with my kids again, working on compliance, wasn't able to go on vacation, working on compliance. And if you're in the TC role or the admin role, you understand that you can walk on water during the contract. But if that agent doesn't get paid and that file doesn't get approved at the end, even though you did everything else perfect, they think you did a bad job. And so for all that work to just go unappreciated, we just couldn't stand for it anymore. So we were able to help. First of all, I have to tell you, we weren't looking to get into the TC world. Right. We initially, and you helped me with this, we looked for vendors that specifically service TCs and admin. There aren't any. Or I shouldn't say there aren't any. There's maybe one or two companies, but no one is helping in this compliance area. REbox, the way we built REbox was unique in that we do have a full compliance department. That's something that we built within the first year or two of REbox. So in order to help these people, again, these are my coaching clients, these are my friends, these are the people that we care about in this community. I was like, could we peel off the compliance department? And again, kind of like the Powered by SHEP, plug and play into your TC company and just simply be the compliance department for your company. We worked really hard to get the pricing down to a TC level. So, and what I mean by that is the profit margins in the TC world are radically different than in the agent world. So we wanted to make sure that this was a product only for TCs and admin. We do not offer it to agents. And the pricing complements that so that it can work if you're only charging $300 a file or $350 a file, depending on your market. This pricing will work for you. We'll go in, we're going to go ahead and check those documents. We're going to give you a checklist. It's your checklist. So we understand that the way, Susie Q does her files is different than the way Bobby does. So we want to make sure we're using your checklist. We're going to check those documents according to that checklist. We're going to send that back to you. We also have a really cool system so you can check your files at any time. And we do all of that for $25 a side. So it's a really—
Which blows my mind. I mean, that's a lunch, people. Yeah. I mean, it really, that's crazy to me that it's $25 and no package. You don't have to sign the package.
No.
So if you're slow one month or you're just absolutely overloaded another month, you can use us whenever.
Yes. And that was the key because again, speaking to coaching clients, speaking to this community, we are seasonal. Sometimes you have more files than you can manage. Sometimes you're totally fine managing them. So we wanted this to be flexible with that business and be able to grow and change. That was something that was very important to us. We also used our file managers, our transaction coordinators, and we said, you need to tell us, how do we make this better? So you don't have to upload anything. We're going to do the uploading. So you're simply emailing us at compliance@agent.REbox, and we're taking it from there. So we're going to upload it into our system so you can see your files anytime, regardless of the brokerage. We're also going to upload it into the agent system, whether that be KW, Era, RE/MAX. We're in so many different brokerages, so we're going to take all of that legwork, on average, it's going to save the traditional TC about 2 to 3 hours per contract, and it's for 25 bucks a side. So the numbers just work out really, really well, and they work out for us too. And we love being able to support TCs in this role. So we feel like this is
and I think that was a huge thing for me too, is, you know, just these two different areas, compliance, powered by SHEP. We didn't sit down, you and I didn't sit down and go, hey, how can we make money in the TC world? I mean, literally, I think it was a phone call. You called me just beyond excited after, I think, coaching and talking with tons of TCs and getting all this interaction. And you said, how can we help this industry? It needs help. We need to figure out how we can blow this up and support each other and make it through the roller coaster of the real estate world in general over the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years. How do we make this industry stable? How do we support it being just us? Yes. So I think that's a really cool, when I think back to where this all started, I think that's pretty cool how we came about this. And I think that speaks true for the prices that we're offering and the free startup costs for Powered by SHEP. It really shows kind of where our mindset is with support.
Well, that's the thing, is you and I have worked really hard on this company for the past 5 years to get it to the place where it is stable. And we understand the gift that that is. And, you know, it's when I genuinely believe that you get out of something what you put into it. We have been able to make these amazing lives in this industry. And I feel like it's our honor and our obligation to give back, to help that next person. And I think that the TC admin industry is just kind of learning itself, and it's becoming its own. And so for a long time, if you're a TC, you're not going to reach out and ask another TC how they do your job. You're going to go Google and you're going to go figure it out, and you're going to have to create a system for you. But then the next person is going to have to do that same thing, and the next person is going to have to do that same thing. Where if we just work together and we said, hey, I have something that I can help you with, you have something you can help me with, now we grow exponentially, as opposed to having to recreate everything each time. And so I want to see from this, I want to see other vendors start offering services to TCs. I want to see other people go, you know what, I'm really good at this and I can help out. Like, that's what we're trying to start here. We're trying to start a TC admin revolution, really. You know, we need to come together and support each other, because together we'll be stronger.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads me into my next question, to pick your brain, because I know it's so amazing, is outside of REbox, I mean, granted, and I'll just plug this in here really quick, with the compliance and the Powered by SHEP, we also have an amazing hub on our website for TCs that is phenomenal. It's got industry leaders, it's got our friends, it's got vendors on there, loads of information. So head over there if you want to, if you've got a few minutes after this. It's really an awesome resource. But what are 3 resources outside of REbox that you've seen value in for TCs or real estate support admin?
3 resources, free. My favorites are kind of the old standbys. I think the Google Suite is incredible, right? Using resources that are, I think that a lot of times, and I get this all the time, people will come to REbox and they'll ask you or me and they'll say, what do you guys use? And I'm like, you don't want what I use, because unless you're running X amount of files, it may not be a benefit for you, right? And I think that's the key, is especially in this world with the profit margins that we deal with, being in a service-oriented industry, you're talking about anywhere from 5 to 15% traditionally. And I know some of you are going to have different numbers. You don't need to email me and tell me. I get it. I'm just saying the average. So those of you with higher profitability numbers, amazing. But working with only 5 to 15%, that could be the difference between 1 or 2 files, whether you're able to pay your bills or not. So I think, especially when you're starting out in your business or you're in a growth year, and we talk about this all the time with REbox, we have growth years and we have non-growth years, right? And non-growth years, you have better profit margins. Growth years, you have lower profit margins. So I think when you're in those times, looking for those free resources is really important. I love going to HubSpot. I think they always have a lot of different resources that you can look at and kind of plug into, and they have a tendency to stay very much on track with those things. They do have some paid services, but you can find free services as well. G Suite, I know people don't like email. I know people don't like Google. Get over it. Like, here's the thing. Google is one of the most stable platforms when it comes to what they do. So when I'm talking about Google, the G Suite, I'm talking about the email, I'm talking about the websites, I'm talking about The domains, I'm talking about, you know, the Excel, the Word, the Drive, all of those kind of things. Yes, you can eventually get Dropbox. Yes, you can eventually get Property-Based or Salesforce or everything else. But you can do, we ran REbox on G Suite for the first 2 years. And we were doing, by the end of year 2, we were over 1,000 files. We weren't using some sophisticated program. We were essentially just using what they provided. So it was a very minimal cost. In some cases it is free because you can just get a Gmail account. It's really incredible. So third one,
love it.
Man, third one has to be the community. I think that is the biggest thing I see people missing. When I talk to folks when I'm coaching, they're like, yeah, I came into the community and I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who to anything else. There are some incredible people in the admin and TC community. By definition, most admin are servant leaders. They want to help. They want to save the world. They just don't want to be on the stage when it happens.
Exactly.
The biggest issues is just realizing you have this community. They will help us, you know?
And by community, Jen, where, I mean, obviously I'll throw it out there. The most obvious one is Facebook. We've seen that. We're in tons of different Facebook groups. And it's funny how much, you know, that's just overlooked. Everyone knows what a Facebook group is, but go out there, start searching. There are some phenomenal TC real estate support admin groups out there that just help you feel so much more connected. Everyone's really supportive. You can ask whatever you want on there. People aren't shaming each other. People know that everyone's at different stages. It's such a supportive community. It's phenomenal. But outside of Facebook, I mean, where would you go? Like, where would you go outside of Facebook to connect with other admins or TCs?
You know, one of the easiest things is just reaching out. And this is something that I'm blown away by is I'll get a Facebook message or an email from someone and they always start out the same. I know you're incredibly busy. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. And I'm like, I'm happy to answer, you know, I'd love to answer. Nobody is successful alone. And I think that's what everybody forgets is that I know you, like you answer questions all the time. You know, my whole team answers questions. We're happy to share the experience that we've had because it may save someone some growing pains. So if you're not into Facebook, fine. But find someone who's doing a job that you like, right? Somebody that has a lifestyle. Because I think that's the other thing that's important is often we look at people and we don't see the whole person. We don't see what their family life is like. We don't see whatever. For me, I don't want someone to be my mentor that's working an 18-hour day and never sees their family. I'm at the stage in my life where family time is more important to me than work time. You know, so I want to find someone who has a good work-life balance, who is contributing back to the community. That's really important to me, who is taking care of their family, who is all those kind of things, right? But just finding those people and then saying, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Or if it's, you know, if it's virtual, hey, can I buy you a virtual cup of coffee? You know?
Right, exactly,
that relationship. Maybe it's a mastermind group where you're meeting once a month, or maybe it's just even going back and forth on Facebook, you know, or email or whatever. I think we just often make ourselves feel like we're alone, and that's not really true.
And I love the cup of coffee thing. I think it's one of the easiest openers that you could possibly, I mean, it's almost like dating somebody for me. You know, it's like trying to make a new friend or going out on a first date, but trying to reach out and connect with that other person in your industry, shooting them a message and saying, hey, saw you did XYZ, love it. Can I buy you a cup of coffee next week? You know, what day do you have open? Would just love to chat. I'm in the same world. That's such an easy thing to do. You're not putting yourself out there too hard. And most people, even if you're an introvert, you're not going to mind just throwing that out. And you'll be surprised how many people love to get that. I love to get that. I had someone do that with me over the summer. They're like, hey, saw you're in marketing in the same area. I'd love to pick your brain on how you started the business. Okay, sure. Cup of coffee later. And, you know, I've got not only a cool connection, but now I've actually got a really good friend out of it. So I love that.
Piggybacking off on that, one thing that is interesting in this industry, and I'm hoping and working really hard to change it, I know you are as well. When I was a realtor, we had this really great camaraderie in our office. My office was on the same floor as some of the top 5 people in the entire state of Alaska, right? But they were my friends. So the beautiful thing about that is we would compare each other's listing presentations or buyers presentations and say, this is what I do. This is what I do. And share all that information. Then we'd go on a competing listing appointment. I mean, we'd battle it out, right? So we were technically competitors, but then we'd go have dinner with each other. There was no, I don't care if you see, and we do this in REbox all the time. People don't believe it. You want our email templates? Just ask. We don't care. You know, you want to know how we do stuff? Just ask. We don't care, because I know that if you become better in your world, that's going to force me to become better in mine. And then together we're providing a better product. So
exactly,
just understanding that there's more than enough business for all of us. So there's no reason to be that competitive. Oh no, I don't want to show you anything. That mentality. It's just not needed.
And it always amazes me too, when you open your brain up into the whole sharing thing. I mean, I love when people send emails to us or messages and ask questions. I'm like, yes, more than happy to download my brain. That's like my favorite zone in the world. But what amazes me is just when you switch that mindset, how much your world grows in support, in referrals, and I mean, in so much stuff that it's actually pretty amazing when you get that ball rolling down the hill, how big it gets.
Well, and it feels good. I can be honest with you and tell you that we send more business to other TCs than we keep when leads come in, because we're not in every state for TC, and we're not interested in going into a lot of states. So, you know, I think we've gotten, I know for a fact, out of the last 10 leads that we've gotten into REbox, we've given away more than half of those. Because rather than just saying, hey, we don't service that area, I want to find somebody in that area that can help that agent, that can now help that TC. It's being a good person. It's being a good business owner.
And the last thing that we want to cover today is, and I know you're going to give me the nitty gritty because you always do, but we want the nitty gritty of what you can expect as a TC real estate support admin year 1 to 3. And I mean, obviously this could be an entire video in and of itself, but what are just some really big things that maybe people don't really realize, but what can they expect in that year 1 to 3 when they first start off their own business or go off on their own?
Oh,
I know.
I know.
I popped this on you too. I surprised you.
You did surprise me, because we were not ready. That's what I can tell you. 1 to 3 years, we were not ready. We were not ready at all. I'll tell you about 1 to 3 years is that it's hard. We were not ready for it. We didn't know what to expect. Unfortunately, in the TC admin role, there isn't a book, right? Like nobody has written a book of how to start a business. Now, there are some amazing services out there. I know Michelle Spalding has some basic, this is how you do TC. There's, I mean, a lot of people, and we're all trying to work towards kind of having that blueprint. We're just not there. So get comfortable with failure. And when I say get comfortable, everybody sits there and says, I love to fail. John Maxwell says this. That's, none of us love to fail. Okay. Like, we want to do it right.
So true.
It's perfect. And we want it to look pretty with a tiny little bow. That doesn't work. That does not work. Now, that does work when it's you. So if I was simply running files and it was me and only me, and you were only doing marketing and it was you and only you, yeah, absolutely. We have full control. We know exactly what's happening, but we're also never going to have a day off. We're never going to see our family, right? And God forbid we ever grow. So if your vision is to allow your business to grow, right? Because the nature of a business is, if you could do a good job, it's just going to grow. You're going to have to actually control that growth, which most people think I have to push on growth. But that's something that you and I have learned, is that when we feel like we have to push on growth, we're probably doing something wrong. Because the natural course of business is to grow, because you're going to do a great job. People are going to refer you. You're going to get more people coming in. You're going to grow. So if you're going to grow, if you're going to allow that growth, get really comfortable with failure, and don't look at it as a negative. One thing that you have to remember is that when we do something amazing, we learn nothing, right? You like fist bump each other. You're like, I'm so cool. Check us out. Great month ever. You post it on Facebook, but that's it. You don't analyze anything. You don't go, why were we successful? And if you do, it's like super cursory, you know, like it's the surface. Like, okay, this is the reason why we're awesome. Go. Right. You learned this the hard way in year 4. You know, you're like, awesome. When you fail, what do? Especially when you're an admin. you tear that thing apart. You go back to
Exactly.
childhood and go, well, because I didn't pick up my toys back then, I'm obviously a procrastinator. So
That's why my emails are at 100,000. Yep.
exactly. So you really dig in, and that
Yep.
embracing that failure, really researching that failure, really digging in is what's going to allow you to grow. So that's why I say get really comfortable with it, because if you're not comfortable with it, you're going to fail and you're going to ignore it. You're going to push it to the side and you're going to come up with a bunch of excuses. It was the agent. It was the system. It was the market. It was the this. It was the that.
Yeah.
And by the way, some of those things may be true, but there's also going to be some learning opportunity in there if you embrace it and you dig in. So first 1 to 3 years, biggest thing, know your profit margins. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to and I say, great, what are your profit margins? What's a profit margin? If you don't know your profit margin, message me now.
Exactly.
It is the easiest thing in the world. It's your revenue minus your expenses equals your profit margin. If you're paying yourself and you have a small team, essentially what you're taking home is your profit margin. You should know what that percentage is in relationship to your business. The reason you need to know that is because if you have 20% profit margins your first year and 2% profit margins your third year, you need to take a really hard look at your business, because you may be growing something that is going to be more work than return, right? You're going to tip your company over. Your infrastructure isn't going to be able to support it. So know your profit margins, get super, super comfortable with failure. Third thing, man, there's so many. I'm just trying to think of what's important. Honestly, it's get a coach, get a mentor, get a community. And I know that sounds self-serving because we offer those things. I don't care if you use us, but you can't do this alone. You can't.
Exactly.
You cannot look at your business that you are putting blood, sweat, and tears into every single day. You can't look at that objectively. You just can't. So you need to have, and your friends are going to want to help you, but here's the thing about your friends, they're going to be nice to you.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to hold you to the fire like a coach would.
Yeah. And a coach is going to sit there and say, those profit margins aren't acceptable. You got to lay somebody off, or you got to get more business, or you got to do this, or you got to do that. And no, those conversations aren't fun, you guys. They're not. I don't like to hear them from my coach, but those are the conversations that are going to force you to go through the growth and the leadership training that you need in order to run a successful company. So
exactly. I think that one thing that I always like to go back to is you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So when you're sitting in your own bubble and you think that you're doing an amazing job and you're rocking and rolling and you're making money and you're able to pay yourself every month, you don't know what you don't know. Where if you have a coach, you have a mentor who's been around for X amount of years, they're going to say, great. And are you doing this? And you go, well, no, I didn't know to do that. Do it now, because it's going to protect you in 2 years.
Exactly.
You know, you need someone there that can just provide insight. And why not? I mean, the more knowledge you have right from the get-go, the better you're going to be, the faster you're going to be. You're just going to set yourself up for success. But if you don't know what you don't know, you might come into, a brick wall and not even see it coming, where if you had that coach or had that mentor that was there, they could have told you that, and you could have easily avoided it.
Right. I always, every single time I speak with my coach, and we're going through a hard time in REbox, he has such a simple answer because he's gone through it. His business is larger than mine. That's the other piece too, is when you're looking for a coach or mentor, look for the attributes that you're lacking in your business or that you're struggling with in your business, right? Don't look for someone that is not in alignment with your vision and where you want to go. I'm always choosing my coach based on what I need to improve in my life and in REbox's life, right? So if I need to focus more on the business aspect of REbox, then I'm going to be looking for a business coach. If that year I'm focusing on the cultural aspects of REbox, I'm going to be looking for a cultural coach, right? It's not, this isn't an employee. This isn't someone who's going to be with you for the next 10 years. They may, but utilize these people to gain the skill set and the knowledge and the insight that they have in the areas that you don't yet have. Be strategic about looking for that coach and mentor, and
absolutely.
I think people just, especially in this world, first of all, coaching is relatively new to this world. So it's kind of a, who does it? Okay, I guess I'll go with them. But have a conversation with your coach. Say, what are we going to talk about? What is your coaching style? Everybody has a very unique coaching style. I'm incredibly blunt. So if you want to talk to me on a weekly basis about everything that goes wrong in your life, I'm going to listen to that for 1 or 2 weeks. And then I'm going to say, great, what are we going to do about it?
Right.
You know, so if you're looking for someone who's just going to listen to you every single week, I may not be the best fit. But if you really want to get a handle on your business and the infrastructure and your numbers, I'm your gal. So don't be afraid to question and see if that person is a good fit for you.
I think I had 2 mentors when I went back to design school, and one was the cheerleader. And, you know, my personality, again, I'm a very direct person, but one was the cheerleader. And by the time I was done with her, I felt like I didn't grow at all. She loved all of my stuff. It was fantastic. And, you know, it was always awesome. Yeah. And the next one was one of the hardest people I think that I've ever been mentored or been around in my life. Hated everything I did, or so I felt like, when in reality, she was just constantly pushing me to the next level. Yeah, that's okay, but you can do better. Yeah, you know, and every time, but I left that mentorship with the most growth that I have ever seen. And it really changed my mind of, what do I actually need? Ask yourself, you know, not what I want. I loved, you know, someone telling me I was awesome every week. That felt great. Was it what I needed? No, definitely not. Not to actually grow and get where I wanted to be. So I think that's a really good point. Awesome. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate your time. We hope everybody got some value from this. We're really excited to start this series. And give us a like, give us a follow below. If you guys have any questions about anything we do, shoot us an email, hello@agentrebox.com, or head over to our hub, agentrebox.com. You'll see that there. Loads of resources to help everybody out. All right. Thanks, Jen. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Alicia.